Good morning, everyone. It is free pre-market prep Monday. We're going to get started here in just a second. Let people kind of make their way into the room. Again, it's Monday, best day of the week, y'all. If you guys can hear me, let me know in chat. Awesome. How was everyone's weekend? Hope you had an excellent weekend. Got some studies in and are ready for the week. All right, let's look at my scan here first. So, right now, scan parameters, for those who have never joined me, I scan on very low volume in the mornings. This is a $150,000 volume requirement. So you can see very, very low dollar volume requirement. The reason for that, it's pre-market. Not a lot of volume yet for the most part. And I like to see volume come in. I like to see volume come into these stocks that don't have a lot of volume yet. So the idea is to get my eyes on these plays early. So in terms of my requirements, I don't think you can see them when I hit my scan on here. But only two requirements, okay? $150,000 volume, 5% change. That's it. Just looking for stocks that are gapping this morning. And you can see even on that little bit of volume, there's only 26 stocks. Maybe a lot to you. It's not a lot to me. That being said, what do I like to focus on? Lower floats. I like to focus on lower price stocks personally. Stocks under $15, $20 for the most part. Stocks that are trading some volume. NBY already missed the dip buy pre-market this morning. I'm not the biggest fan of trading pre-market. The only time I'm trading pre-market is if I have a scenario that I'm sitting around, I see a PR come out, I've got a good idea of what I'm looking for, and it falls within that. And then I'm trading, within the first 5-10% gain of the stock. So as opposed to chasing it. ARQQ, huh? Anyways, let's get into some tickers and some charts here. Make sure I got my scan going. All right. Hefe asked, what's the biggest difference on how I trade a pre-market long versus a long off open? Again, I have to be in a really, really, really advantageous position. Now, that goes for all my trades, but specifically pre-market, I've got to see it early. I've got to, I call it being opportunistic. A news play, in other words, where I'm actually buying a PR. It's pretty rare that I do that. I would much, much, much rather see the market open and volume come in. 90% of the time, okay? 90% of the time. All right, let's see what we got here. NBY is our top percent gainer this morning. Actually, before we hit NBY, all right, there's something important that I want to do, which is go through last week's top percent gainers, all right? A big part of this game of understanding what can run the most and what has the potential of being explosive or just having the correct perspective in general. A big part of that is what ran last week for me, all right? Specifically what ran Friday, Thursday, okay? And last week, we had this pattern. We saw 70 to 80 cent stocks running to $1 or $2. All right, that was the main theme last week, starting with Verb. And then within that, all right, within that, we got to break it down even more. What's the pattern? Where's my VWAP at? It's because it's anchored, I think. There we go. Take these bands off. So you can see morning spike was kind of the pattern last week, the strongest pattern. And generally we'd have one pull, one push through highs, and maybe pre-market highs. And that's kind of all she wrote. All right. This is Tuesday because we didn't have trading on Monday. Couple VWAP breakdowns. Generally speaking, what we've been seeing are these things holding during the midday pulls, holding that morning dip support. All right. You guys see the support back here? They've been holding kind of this morning dip support area, maybe cracking a little bit. Nothing too crazy. But we've been seeing a breakdown of VWAP, but a hold of early morning support. All right, that's Verb. Verb ended up breaking out really well at the end of the day. When stocks go parabolic into close, it's a great idea to close positions for me most of the time. You get gap downs, which happened here on Verb. But the next day, we saw Pali run, P-A-L-I, right? There's a 5-minute chart on P-A-L-I. Same idea, sort of morning spike. If we go to the 1 minute, it'll be a little bit more clear for you. Same idea on Pali. Morning spike, first pullback, right? First pullback, morning spike. You get one break of highs, pull back to VWAP, dick around with VWAP, break down VWAP, mess with the early morning levels, and then some pushback towards high a day. But that's it. There are really two areas of morning spikes that I'm looking for. First pullback, and then sort of these midday holds. All right, these midday holds, and you will see, yeah, right around 1 p.m. or so Eastern is about that time where I'm looking for those reversals between noon and 1, where I'm looking for additional bottoming of these stocks. Let me pull the chat up so I have that open. Sorry, y'all. Pali, same idea, but they end up breaking down, right? Badly, and then having a really bad after hours the next day, maybe an offering or something. And then one more example was AREB from last week. I just want to really illustrate to this to you guys. This is the pattern that's been in play this week, since last week and a little bit before even. Same sort of idea here. Morning spike and halt. Here's that kind of first pull area post halt right there. You get the hold of that area. You get another high a day right through highs. And then it goes back to VWAP, and then it breaks down below VWAP, and it's going to mess with those morning dip levels. In this case, AREB didn't even get going, right? So there wasn't so much of a secondary push if you weren't selling into VWAP. All right. My trade from Friday was Verb's first green day. All right. So when these things go big on day ones, particularly if they go parabolic and then they fade, they will have a decent first green day. I was hitting the first green day on Friday. Show you my trade quickly. Nothing big, only like $600-700 or something like that. But here's your morning pattern. The best entry on this first green day is going to be, if you look at this 15-minute chart. Let's see here. On Verb. Oh, let's go to a 5-minute. Sorry. But the best entry on Verb on this first green day happened to coincide again with that very key level from Monday, right? From this key area from Monday, you can see after it faded, after the parabolic took a couple days, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 3, day 4, it finally held, all right? When we got the morning spike, and we'll get into the fresh tickers here in a second, but I just want you to have an idea because it was... First green day has been a really solid pattern this year so far. You had a morning spike. All right. I played the big pull all the way back to low a day. That's what I did. I only ended up with 3,000 shares and I sold them into new highs. I sold them here. It was like a 15-minute trade, 10-minute trade. What's up, B? My man B's in the house. B the trader. Love that dude. Hope all's well, my friend. But that's the idea, right? First green days, 70, 80 cent stocks, right? So let's get to today. It's no surprise to me that NBY is the one that's going pre-market, all right? 70-cent stock, 4 million share float. They announced an agreement with BioStem Technologies to commercialize amniotic tissue allograft as Avanova allograft. So so they have this agreement. That's all that is. However, decent chart. All right. Daily chart first. Always got to hit that daily, see what that daily looks like. It's the first place I normally stop. All right. What am I looking for on the daily? I'm looking for reverse splits. I'm looking for recent big volume days like this. Volume here was 16.2 mil. Haven't really traded a lot of volume since then. No real history of big spikes on NBY for the most part until we get back to, 2019, 2020, 2021 even. Let me see. No, that's the wrong one. Sorry, y'all. Technical difficulties there. Okay. Okay. All right, there we go. Check this day layout again. So big volume day did top out at $110 or so, which we're already over for now. Only idea for me on NBY would be a pull. Not too much range here, 10 cents range or so to lows from this area. The most prominent pattern for the strongest plays has been the morning spike pattern as opposed to gap and crap reversal. Y'all know my favorite setup, which would be if the market opened right now on NBY, and we're talking just bread and butter daily gapper setup on NBY, if this were to pull the first 5 or 10 minutes towards 90, 88 cents, 90 cents, 95 cents, that would be normally the ideal entry for me. And then the idea would be sell into VWAP, sell into high a day, sell into pre-market highs, right? That's bread and butter for me. But that being said, I've been laying off the pattern a little bit lately because it hasn't been as fruitful. When we've been seeing these things open under VWAP and open week, we have not been seeing the best bounces, okay? We've seen some, don't get me wrong, and it's still much better idea than chasing highs. But if this were to kind of be strong, I would expect this to spike and halt out the gate pretty much first few minutes, especially if it's opening up and kind of can hold this VWAP area or hold $1, so it's not exactly ideal for me in terms of range and risk reward, but I can still possibly hit a single. So I'll keep eyes on NBY. I'll keep eyes on NBY anyways. CRNX. Let me throw NBY here so we don't forget it. CRNX. Big old gap up. Yosh. Little higher price for me on CRNX, so I'll probably just ignore it. A little bit bigger float, 50 mil. Inducement grants under NASDAQ. That's why. They achieved... Kinetics once daily oral achieved the primary and all secondary endpoints in phase 3. Great news for them. Great news on CRNX. But someone with, People knew, people were loading going into results likely. It could be somewhat of a little bit of a sell the news situation this morning. I wouldn't be surprised. Yosh just popped 4.7 mil on the float. Yoshiharu signs a non-binding memorandum of understanding to acquire Las Vegas restaurants. California-based operator specializing in authentic Japanese ramen. So that's what that is. That's what Yosh is. Bottom mounts are 38. Already went 38 to 60. Struggling with 52 in VWAP area already. Daily shows no real propensity for spiking. Some volume here, not a lot. A tiny bit of volume compared to what it possibly could do, but it's only done 500,000 shares this morning so far. I suppose worth keeping an eye on for a bottom bounce, or don't love the volume, don't love the chart right now. AVTA, another higher price play on the scan. Pretty rare that I'm not having only small cap plays on my scan, but that looks like an acquisition. Check their news. Yep, they've been acquired. Ignore. For those who wonder why, it's because the price will settle at the acquisition price and it will stay there. If you guys have anything you want to know, any questions for now, go ahead and drop. You can drop them in the chat. Do I ever trade pre-market? Mateo asked. I mentioned this earlier. I do. Maybe 10% of the, not even 10% of the time. I'm rarely trading pre-market. I very much. I almost bought NBY this morning on this dip. Literally right here. I was watching it. When we have stocks go from 70, 50, sub one, when they get over a dollar becomes really important. And I find, especially recently, especially the recent patterns on stuff like NBY right now, but if you look at like Pally and some of these other ones, when they get over a dollar, they like to test a dollar. That threshold for me on whether or not a dollar is going to hold is like 90 or 88 cents. Okay. Once we start getting beyond there, it's kind of, the move kind of seems dead to me for a dollar hold move. And if we get a dollar hold on a 70-cent stock and this spikes right out the gate, 10, 20, 30 cents, it halts because it's a big percentage gain for a 70-cent stock, right? Let's look at some more charts. AVTA, Twink, another one that's higher priced, big float. Oh, it's Hostess. They're being bought. Hostess was just acquired. So ignore AVTA, ignore Hostess. VS is on my scan again. They were on my scan Friday after hours. Bottom bouncer. Have never traded bottom bounce volume. Oh, that's not true. But that was from $1.50 to $3. Back early this year, VS had that big gap up to 3. Closed in the ones. Gapped up here with a little bit of volume, closed at lows, gapped up here with a little bit of volume, closed at lows. So not to say that this can't get going back towards like 30, 40, 50 cents, maybe 35, 40 cents. But I would just err to the side of caution a little bit, which, by the way, I really like to do on Mondays. Really like to do on Mondays, man, because I like to let things shake. Monday really sets the tone for me for the week as in terms of my aggression and my perspective and my frequency of trades. So particularly Monday morning, man, I like to let things shake out. I like to see what patterns are going to be prevalent, what setups are starting to work, what the shorts are looking like, what the algorithms are doing. All right. These big volume stocks like NBY, like Verb last week, like Pally, P-A-L-I last week, those big, huge green volume days, right? Verb, Pally, another example, 168 million on Pally, right? Arab, 113 million on Arab's first green day. They're being very much driven algorithmically by high frequency traders and algorithms. All right. And because of that, it makes it super difficult to play when you're playing by human rules and human emotions. Super difficult, right? All the noobs get crushed on this shit these days. Really tough for them to trade because anyone who's being driven by impulse, chasing, bad risk reward, breakouts, shitty entries, all of that stuff is extremely punished these days. It's not just punished a little bit, right? Which is why you only see me buying stocks where you see me buying them, which is low, right? Through high a day. So pre-market high, it's like on AREB last week. Yeah, there was 40 cents on the breakout. But before that, there was 30 cents, and then it pulled you red before going back to high a day. These high a day buyers, and I guarantee you there were some, anyone buying up here just totally screwed. Likewise, people who were shorting weakness last week, if you were shorting weakness on like Verb day one or even Pally, if you were shorting into the VWAP breakdown on Pally last week, you could have gotten in trouble a little bit. So that's the idea. Let's continue to move on through these tickers. We got VS, a little bit sketch, Twink, AVTA acquired, JG, another bottom bouncer. Been seeing a lot of bottom bouncers, y'all. Another bottom bouncer here. Hasn't really traded bottom bounce volume. And when I say bottom bounce volume, I'm talking about 60, 70, 80, 100 million shares when volume comes in on these things. Speaking of which, Axla totally botched the breakout last week. We've been seeing a lot of these bottom bouncers also start to do multi-day breakouts over the last month or so. Really pretty one on Axla. Got to $1 that, that would have been my goal. Maybe worth watching this one going forward. Gapping down for now, slightly. The entry I wanted was on Friday on the pull towards that breakout level. And I didn't get it, so... Which is fine. Not a big fan of breakouts, y'all. In fact, I really don't like playing them, but I play them when they're there and they're in play specifically, if that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, gap and crap reversal has not been very fruitful lately. Exactly. Which is why you've seen me kind of move on from that recently. It's a big, man, it's my favorite pattern ever in terms of bread and butter first green day gappers. But doesn't mean I play them every day. I play them when they're working, Everyone always asking my favorite setup. What's your favorite setup? What's your favorite setup? Man, whatever's working right now. And then if I happen to know that setup, if not, I'll try to learn it and see if it fits in with my personality. And yeah, y'all, if y'all are really enjoying this, please smash the like. Helps a lot. Make sure you subscribe. I'm going to be doing more lives, try to squeeze in some more stuff as well, and dropping just a ton more stuff going forward. Lot of stuff coming up for y'all on YouTube here. CGC, we've seen the weed sector get going a little bit. So I'll kind of keep some eyes on some of these as well. Let's do a quick check on our top percent gainers for dilution, y'all. Okay. NBY. Okay. It's pretty dilutive here. Yep, they got some warrants at $1.30. $1.50. Sixes. Convertible note, $1.30. They got an ATM. Quite a bit of stuff there. Quick check on Yosh. Clean. Quick check on JG. All I'm looking for right now, clean. I'm looking for whether or not these stocks are going to be dumping. I'm looking for excess supply. And you can see NBY is one of those tickers that is somewhat sketch here. They've got 5 months left of cash. It's better than some of these companies. But still not a lot of cash. We know now. Let's see. Oh, I didn't see that too. Oh, that's CGC. Okay. NBY. So we know they've got these warrants in the $1.30s, right where it topped out. And there, we may have shorts stepping in there too. It's something you have to understand. Shorts understand these levels as well. But pretty key to understand this stuff, man. I know that once they get over $1.30, there's excess supply and that they need cash and that they will probably be converting shares today and then dumping. So at some point, this one will dump, most likely. $1.30 is that level again. $1.30. All right. $1.30. So just for reference, boom. Just hit $1.30 with a line so I remember. Okay. That's that, y'all. I mean, there's not too much on the scan that's too interesting this morning. Again, it's Monday morning. I like to let things shake. Probably give it 5 or 10 minutes. I'll still have eyes on NBY. All right. I don't like that they're dilutive. This means no matter what, I'll probably be selling into the 130s. If they do pull back towards 90 cents or sub $1, I still will watch. But you can see they're topping out right where that excess supply is going to end up being. All right. So what exactly does that mean? If the price gets there, they will sell on you and bring the price down at some point. We don't know when, but yes, imagine yourself, okay? Imagine if right now you had, if right now you were sitting on like 3 million shares of NBY, okay? 3 million shares of NBY. They were given to you. I'm not sure what the price is here, but for cheaper. What would you do? You'd be dumping them. And what would you need to dump? Liquidity, volume. So on a day like today, when it's starting to get a bunch of volume, that is when I would dump my shares. So yes. Long story short, I assume they're going to do it. I don't assume they're going to be nice. Ever. So not too much out there this morning that's interesting. We've got couple bottom bouncers, Yosh, VS, JG, PSTVs on the scan as well this morning, 2.8 in the float. Plus Therapeutics received a $1.9 million advancement. I think they tried to run last week or somewhat recently, did they not? Oh, they had a really crap day last Friday, it looks like. Is there other news? Plus fails to find traction on licensing agreement. That's what that was. It was bad news. Weird. Looks like they entered into a licensing agreement. Huh. Interesting. Just a few minutes, or is market open now, actually? Market is open, which means I have got to get into my Discord. For those who want to join, that's what that QR code is, and a discount code. The Wolfpack right now is on fire, man. I can't explain. Something very special going on in the room, and it's an amazing time. If you're looking for a stock trading community, particularly to the long side, I don't think there's a better one out there right now, and that's not just me saying that. That's me having been in these rooms for a very long time and molding my specific room to be the antithesis of the others. So if you want to join, go ahead and hit that QR code. If you enjoyed this stream, please smash that like. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe, and we'll be doing this every week. We may be doing it maybe more than once a week in the future. Let's see what NBY is doing. Right out the gate, morning spike. Okay. Morning spike. We'll see if they do the halt up algo this morning, whatever they're going to be running. Another thing we're doing now, and it's been a huge game changer, has been one-on-one training. For the one-on-one training going forward, it's all going to be interview only, because I only want serious people. I don't want people coming in and wasting my time, because it is very precious. So if you have questions on that, feel free to DM me. There's no way to just sign up for one-on-ones on the site at the moment, but feel free to DM me. We're going to have an interview process going forward where pretty much everyone who wants them is going to have to speak with me personally. So that's going to be kind of the deal going forward, but NBY straight spike for now. We'll do a few more minutes, y'all, and then I'm going to catch my wolves in the Discord for our live market webinar, which we do every single day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We do pre-market prep like this for my people. And then we live trade, same format, via live webinar every single day. Most days we'll hit power hour prep as well. We'll do the same thing for power hour. And the whole point of this is that I want my students not just to see me trade well for like 2 hours a week. Anyone can do that, maintain their psychology and pretend to trade perfectly. But so they can see me trade every single day and every single condition live and understand the thoughts that are going through my head. The good, the bad, the ugly. So that they, especially the ugly. I really, that's not my favorite part. It kind of sucks being live and sucking at trading. But the best part is for them to see the reaction to that and how I cope with adversity as opposed to just winning trades, you know? Any more questions? If not, we are going to wrap this bad boy up, and I'm going to get into my Discord with my people. Any more questions? I'll give you a few minutes. NBY fail at pre-market highs so far. Not complete failure. This will be shorted up here into a $1.30. Like I said, they do have warrants, convertibles, a lot of nonsense over a $1.30. This has already reacted differently than we saw Verb, then we saw Pally, then we saw AREB, which just spiked straight out the gate. So right now it already tells me something that I need to kind of definitely pause. This is a potential entry if I have a lot of conviction as we pull back to low a day. But again, Monday morning, I'm going to let things shake. New low a day, right? Especially when last week we saw these things popping and halting out the gate, and this morning we're not. We might get a halt down even. Maybe we get a dollar hold. maybe we can get a dollar hold here. CRNX, let's give that a peep. Morning spike there. They have phase 3 met their primary and secondary endpoints on phase 3 for CRNX. PSTV did morning spike. So a little bit of a morning spike on PSTV here. Pretty decent. Straight out the gate. And oftentimes when you have kind of a lower float with a decent PR like they did, and it's kind of illiquid, but it's opening near pre-market lows, those are ones I'd pretty much expect to go out down the gate. MBY halted down, just like I mentioned. It might do. Could it hold like 88, 90? Yeah, it could. And if it's going to hold and push at all today and get back towards highs, that's where I'd want to see this thing hold. All right. So we'll see what that does out of the unhalt. But dude, don't chase. You know, for those who are new, and a lot of people on YouTube are new, don't chase this crap. Don't play the first minute of the day. Don't play the second minute of the day. They're total gambles almost 100% of the time. And I did that for a very long time. I thought that's what trading was, catching a morning spike to the long side. That's all I tried to do was buy this candle for a very long time, okay? I find 5-10 minutes is the sweet spot where the stocks are going to show me what they're going to be trying to do today. All right? So we'll see how NBY does when it unhalts and how it reacts to like 90, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90. And move on. PSTV morning spike pattern, but it's already gotten to pre-market highs. So I don't have good risk reward here. Okay? I gauge my reward every single day on high of day, pre-market highs, VWAP. Those are targets. Those are not entries to me. Those are everyone else's entries. I sell to them. That's my game. And that's why it's worked for me for so goddamn long. Because everyone wants to buy highs. A lot of people probably just sitting around waiting for this to break $2 to buy it, which is batshit crazy to me, y'all. Batshit crazy. Okay? A lot of people are just sitting around waiting. I can't even buy it here. I can't even buy it now. Only way I could buy it is if it's pulling back towards $1.60, $1.50, and I don't necessarily want it there on this ticker. Okay? If anything, the single should be pretty much done. I should be selling into these levels. But no trade there for me yet. VS. It's a different one. That's Vision Wrapped Ether. Wrong VS. There we go. VS little morning spike and pull. Entries are all based off lows. If I'm trying to buy a morning spike, I'm still going to be risking off low a day. Little VWAP reject for now. Nothing for now for me. MRK arc just hit my scan. 6.6 million float. Marker announces complete response in first lymphoma patient treated with MT601. That's this morning. That's the cause for this pop. ACB, CGC. We're seeing more strength in the weed sector. I'm kind of upset I missed CGC. NC. Process. ATM with 10 mil in it. Warrants at 30, warrants at 50, pipe warrants at 50. All right. It's important, y'all. This part of my game, I find to be super important. Just a little bit of due diligence goes a long way. Goes a long, long, long way for me. VWAP hold on PSTV. Couple nice holds at 175 area. But again, for me, and I can't stress it enough, this here is inverse risk reward if it doesn't work. Really bad risk reward. All right. Because I'm looking at risk. Not that that is where I would risk, but I like to look at low a day as where the stock is going to go at some point. All right. NBY. NBY pull towards that 97, 96 range there for now. Buck hold for now. Trying to. Few more minutes and I got to roll, guys. Sorry. And gals. If you enjoyed this, please smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Do you guys want me to do more of these? Let me know. Let me know in the chat. Cool. You guys got it. We'll try to do some more lives for you. We'll get a bunch more lessons out on YouTube over the coming weeks. I've been doing a lot of watching of other people's material on YouTube, and I'm not going to dog on anyone because that's not my style at all, but it's all the same. And it's all, and it's specifically what I know, which is small cap, mid cap, long. Everyone, there's nothing that really works out there that I've been watching. Just a lot of mumbo jumbo and pumping of tickers still, which is gross. Okay. I like to watch NBY as it reacts to these lows. The idea, honestly, from here now, guys, if it were to reverse and I get lows here, it's not ideal because I haven't seen stocks doing this recently, right? I've been seeing them morning spike. This is a very sudden shift in pattern. Does that make sense to you guys? Very sudden shift in pattern. We went through the patterns from last week. VERB, PALI, AREB, right? Very similar patterns. If you're just joining us, you can go back earlier in the pre-market prep where I talk about it. But this is different. I was expecting this to probably spike and halt at the gate. Very possible that these warrants at $1.30, had an effect this morning. But let's see. Pretty clear. At this point, what I do, guys, I'm looking for a reversal. I'm watching tape. I'm watching time and sales and level 2. I'm also watching volume. You can see volume has decreased, right? These things, when they get weak, they'll be selling. Usually first couple minutes are crazy amounts of volume, right? That is why I like to let things shake out. I want to see what happens when volume comes in. That will tell me which way they're going to be taking it, at least for the temporary time being. When we get pools, we'll start to get this decrease in volume, and I will look for somewhat of an uptick in volume, okay? That being said, last week's patterns, again, this is why I love being patient on Mondays and let the markets tell me on Monday morning kind of what I should be looking for the rest of the week. Is it going to be gap and crap reversals? Is it going to be morning spikes? Is it IPOs? Is it bottom bouncers? Is it a reverse split? We saw reverse splits recently running, right? All of those good things. So now we're to these pre-market highs on PSTV. And this is where everyone would be buying it, literally up into this. And this would be, I met my goal. Usually I would consider this like a double, right? Depending on range. But when we get to this would be my last target here, okay? Where I should be selling shares. And then if I have any more shares going forward, unless patterns change and we get a really crazy bull market where I can start to do some different things, the rest of this is just bonus territory, because realistically, where's it going to go? I need price targets, guys. I need them. But nice little morning spike on PSTV. Check these one more time. VS higher low. Remember, we saw that morning spike and the pullback to lows. That is what I was talking about. When I'm playing morning spikes, I actually do want to see it retrace quite a bit if I'm looking for a bounce. You know, I don't just randomly buy dips. I do want to see a lot of retracement on these days. All right, y'all. I've gone over my allotted time. My team is going to start nagging me about it. But I can't help it. Okay. Little low breakdown here. Tiny bit of breakdown near lows, and I'm watching it still. Always watch these legs down. The idea when I'm watching it is I watch for weakness, a lot of weakness, and then some slowdown and some more weakness, and I'm looking for the weakness to slow down like a bouncing ball. And if I'm short, if I'm a good short seller and I was short in pre-market highs, I'm covering into these areas. I'm covering into VWAP, and I'm covering into low a day, and covering into pre-market lows, the opposite. That is how you make money in these markets, by putting yourself correctly within the flow. New lows. And for a single, what I'd watch this for would be a bounce to VWAP, and that's pretty much it. Then if you get VWAP and it'll be over $1.10, then it's possible that you could get back to those highs even. There are going to be shorts who shorted the breakdown here too of low a day, right? So there are shorts. Think about it. 108, there will be shorts who are hitting the lower high, the higher low, just like there are longs doing the opposite. CGC, nice. You still have some of that, Simon? Great trade there, buddy. Hell of a move there. I missed it completely, unfortunately. Is there something going on with Congress or something like that that would be doing this to these tickers? These are weed stocks, ACB, CGC. What other ones were there? Listed ones. GNLN. It's kind of nasty. How about weed stocks? Any weed stocks up? How about any weed OTCs? I don't know if the snipers are in here, but... Okay. Yeah, that's true. Got an election year coming up. So you can see, by the way, NBY, you can see it's still reacting to these lows from pre-market. If I was had a lot of conviction right now, and I wasn't sitting in a kind of sit on hands mode, I would be 100% long right now, and my risk would be somewhere around 89 cents, 88 cents. No problem, right? And that's the whole beauty of it, is that if you're patient and you get good entries, areas like this, as opposed to something different. Risk reward is controlled and maximized on gappers. There's no better way to maximize them that I have found in 7 years of playing first green day gappers almost every single day. I've not found any better strategy or idea in terms of entries, exits, risk reward. And yeah, I do get stopped out quite a bit, you know. It's not the highest probability, but it is the lowest risk on the shittiest stocks. Why do I want to risk a lot on shitty stocks? I don't. Okay, unless the setup's there completely. For me, it is imperative that I get maximum risk reward. So if I'm buying right now at 93 cents and I'm risking 89 cents, I've got 4 cents risk. If I'm selling at VWAP at about $1.10, right? At about $1.10, I get about 15 cents reward, 16 cents reward, back to high a day, you know, an additional 15 cents reward, 30 cents. I'm getting 1 to 5, 1 to 7, 1 to 10 at that point when we get back towards high a day. With a really good entry, you can get amazing risk reward. And when it doesn't work, I'm losing 3, 4, 5 cents a share, you guys. Okay, on these setups. Whereas if anyone chasing in the highs or playing the morning spike or whatever, you get these 5, 10 cent. And if you're playing low float, higher price stocks, 50 cent dollar pools, man. I don't live for that. That's not fun. There's no good trading psychology in those areas of the charts. These areas, you can see how controlled it is when I'm entering. I haven't entered this one yet. Again, the fact that they're dilutive in the 130s, it doesn't mean there's not a single here. I think it's pretty clean, a pretty clean area. But any questions? I have to get to my people. I got to get to my people, my friends. John asked, do I set hard stops in my broker? Just cut at mental levels? Both. Both. The first thing I do when I play these, believe it or not, so say I take 5,000 shares long right now in NBY, 94, 95 cents now. You can see even as this creeps up, 94, 95, 96, 97, my risk gets worse. My reward gets worse. As these things go up, my reward gets worse and my risk gets bigger, period. And if you can look at it like that, you won't chase. If you understand that 105, 106, 107 to me is chasing, 110 is chasing, 115, 120 is chasing to me. All right. Y'all think chasing is just when it's spiking through high day and you're trying to get in. Nah, not to me. Chasing is anything that takes me out of good risk reward, period. The first thing I would do if I entered this stock right now is open a market sell order. First thing I would do, depending on size and stuff and what I'm trying to accomplish. But when I'm trading these, that's the first thing I do. I just open a market sell order. And then I hover with my finger on the sell just in case I got to get rid of it quickly. Because I'm trying to maintain that 3 cents risk, that 4 cents risk. New low. New low. And we're a little bit through that support now. And again, the fact that this is diverging from last week's patterns has me sitting on my hands right now. And it's the only reason I didn't dip buy, because I had an order open, ready to buy it. But again, if conviction's not there, when I'm seeing patterns that I'm not completely have my finger on it at the moment, I err to the side of caution, especially on a Monday, right? When I expect NBY to go halt out the gate, probably go to 2 at some point. It's that sort of idea, because that's what happened all last week. And then it doesn't happen. It means I sit on my hands this morning. All right. It doesn't mean that this can't bounce to VWAP at some point too. But at this point in the morning, I'll probably switch it to the 5-minute chart and watch for a bounce. Watch for this to gap and crap reversal on a 5-minute time frame, in other words. Which is what I do. Okay. So NBY, could it reverse? It could. Target would be VWAP. AVTA was acquired, right? Ignore. NC we saw earlier a little bit pop in. I'm happy I avoided that buy on NBY for now. Very happy. But the other part about this, the other part about buying weakness and trading how I like to trade, at least, is that when this doesn't work, right? 95, say I'm buying 95, 94. You know, I mean, 5-6 cents extra. And this could keep going too, don't get me wrong. But oftentimes what I find is that if I was just not patient enough, or if I just get stopped out, oftentimes I'll come back like an hour from now, and that price will be back over where I got stopped from. Just from the nature of where I buy it. Where the nature of where most of you guys buy stocks, you're buying it, it's never fucking going back there. It's never getting back up to where you're getting bagged from. All right? It's not getting back up to 2 or 250, you know, on Verb or something like that. When you're messing with those stocks and not cutting. It's just a different ball game. It's a different ball game. Controlled losses, small losses, with always the potential of really, really, really good reward. And that's what I'm going to kind of leave you with this morning. We'll hit a few more tickers. MBY, we'll see if they can reverse towards back towards VWAP at some point today. We will see. NC, not quite sure here. Noko Inc. Noko. Looks like a SPAC uplisting. It looks like an uplisting or SPAC merger just based on the chart and the fact that I've not heard about the ticker. And if there's a NASDAQ that I've not seen, that's very rare. And it must be like some kind of IPO from recently or SPAC uplisting or SPAC merger or uplisting. Some gap downs, not quite sure what's going on there. Their equipped exceeds 2,000 cycles at 60 something batteries. They do batteries. Not sure. Not sure. Kind of a fresh chart. Maybe some locked up shares or something. We'll see what this does. They did do volume here on this day. They did do volume there a lot. So that's concerning to me on NCNC. Sweet. Make sure you hit that like for this, for the live trading this morning. We're not supposed to be doing this. I'm supposed to only be with my people. I apologize, my wolves, but I think a lot of you are in here. So do I manually track data or do I use software? Manually, but I'm actually going to get with Gratani soon on getting some data for my long setups. And yeah, this week, actually, I'll be hitting him up. So that'll be interesting. I'll share the results with you guys when I get some data. You guys, a huge part of what I do is discretionary. I'm big on data too. I'm big on my data personally, my personal trade data, for tweaking my performance and finding what setups are best for me to be playing at the moment. That being said, just like you heard the thoughts this morning going through my head, that's important, man. Like what was going on NBY, the whole process behind it, which was like 70, 80 cent stocks were perfect last week. But you had to kind of play morning spike or the pullback through below VWAP, back towards morning support was kind of the pattern last week. So the fact that this didn't follow it out the gate, you know, and then pulled back, yeah, you know, data would probably tell me that over time it's an okay area or whatever else. But the discretion there is the fact that it didn't do what they were doing last week. So I'm going to take my foot off the pedal for a second and see what it does. That's it. Right? Biggest part though, even though oftentimes I see these things bounce back above my entries because of the spots that I'm playing them in, I still cut them because you just never know. All right. You just never know. Any more questions? I'll give you one more opportunity for questions and then I got a jam. One-on-ones are on today for my people between noon and 2 Eastern. So make sure you're DMing me in Discord and just call me on Discord for video chat when the time comes. I'll answer them from wherever I am. Nice avoidance on NBY this morning. And you know the biggest part of that for me was honestly this. Well, there were two parts to it, but this was just enough for me. I mean, a shit ton of convertible shares, all at $1.30, where it happened to top out this morning pre-market. And then if it gets through the $1.30s, there's still the $1.50s above. All right. These warrants, those who don't understand this, these are shares that can be converted and then dumped, and they buy them from a way lower price. Okay. And then they can dump these shares. And this is the shit that I'm talking about that I think should be basically illegal, because they're taking you, me, and the rest of retail, and they're going to use the volume that we bring in as quote unquote investors, even though we're just day traders. Okay. Into these $1.30s where I put that line earlier, that's where those warrants are. And then if it happens to get through those, there's more up here too. Excess supply, you guys. That's not just you, me, Susie, chat rooms. We're talking about big bank stuff, okay? Where they have shares to dump here, excess supply, excess supply. So when that is the case, I err to the side of caution. Now, there are times where I'm dialing it back because I'm just seeing everything fly out the gates, and I'm seeing a bunch of strength regardless and huge amounts of volume. But most of the time, do I think they're bottoming? Yeah, I do. I was just watching tape over here. That looked for a second like we may be getting a bit of that first initial reversal back towards VWAP, but so this may be one of those ones that we see them do something different with it later in the day, midday, pop towards VWAP or back towards highs or something like that. But for now, rough morning if you're trying to dip by it. What site am I using to check dilution? That is Dilution Tracker. I believe if you go down in the down to the description on this live stream and scroll down, I think there's a link for DT there. It is the best tool, guys. I can't stress it enough. Okay, I use it it has cut my pre-market process down so fast. I don't have to go through the 10 Qs and all the different filings. Sometimes I do, but oftentimes I don't. So it's a big time tool for me, y'all. I use this for everything. I use this for so much, not just the dilution aspect, but splits as well. Whenever I'm looking through splits and looking for splits, you know, they've got them. Which ones have been approved? Look how many splits, guys. Look how many have been approved. These haven't even done splits yet. These are freshies. And we've been seeing this all damn year. So many splits coming, y'all. Holy shit. You know, even with this kind of bull run in the markets over this year, even though it's been choppy, we've been seeing stocks go down and down and down and down and do these splits, which I love, man. These are all potential runners. Every single one of these. All right. Here's the upcoming, the complete ones. eFresh just split. SLE, NEPT, AGLE. All these tickers that you guys are going to be playing as bottom bouncers eventually are going to split, which is what you have to keep in mind. These guys are not in the business of getting their frickin' stock price up other than to dump. That is literally it. Okay. This is literally what I'm leaving you guys with. That is the danger. This is why I trade the fashion in which I trade. I know they're dumping. Okay. I know they're dumping. What scanner am I using? I'm using Scans, by the way. I use Scans, SCANZ. There should be a link in the description for my scanner as well. I love it. It's basic, but gives me everything that I need. I don't miss anything. The news stream is phenomenal. So I've been happy with it up until now. But guys, Understand that that's the game. This is why I buy where I buy and why you don't see me chasing in a high day, why you don't see me trading this shit all day to the long side. There are specific times that I like to trade, and a lot of that's based on what patterns are in play or not in play at the moment. And they're always shifting, always shifting. And that discretion is that experience, that gut feeling where I'm like, something ain't right. Patterns have shifted, something shifted. And rather than try to figure it out on the fly and trade it when things shift, I'm all about just let it do its thing. Let the patterns play out. Let the volume play out, you know, especially on a Monday. That will give me a much better idea what I'm going for tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, this afternoon, right? So that's that, man. Do I trade on TradingView? Never. I don't ever trade on a third-party software other than DAS. I don't ever trade on a third-party software that's not the broker software, in other words. I don't want something to happen, you know, and at least if something happens with my broker, I can complain to them and there's some sort of record of it or something like that. But if something happens, you know, I don't need my trade executions going through a third-party software and then through my saw. I don't need it. That's always just been my opinion. I don't know if anyone else has experience with it, but I don't like using third-party software to place my trades. Yeah, I use Street Smart Edge when I'm trading my Schwab account. Correct. But they've sucked this year, to be fair, in my opinion. My executions haven't been great. Really freezy at times. I'm looking to not. I'll probably just keep 401k. Or my IRA there, I mean. It is just that, here it is, guys. Dilutiontracker.com. See, even there, NBY looked like it was turning and then pulled again, you know? But at some point, this should base at least and probably slowly grind back towards VWAP before getting rejected. Something like that. We'll see what happens there. Nothing great this morning so far. And you can big time see, just to let you guys know, big deal here, okay? Big deal here. My scan is a huge gauge for me. I find everything here, obviously, but I'm looking at top percent gainers, all right? CRNX is the best. They had good phase 3 news. I'm just going to throw them on my chart, all right? They morning spiked straight to pre-market highs and then pulled. EFSH, fresh split. So outside of CRNX, which is a huge float, which is a bigger float, bigger cap, biotech, higher priced. We've got a bunch of 30% gainers, man. 27% gainers, 15% gainers. Overall markets are up for now, it looks like. SPY and Qs are up, but they're pulling pretty hard off of this gap. Back towards Friday's highs. Anyways, this scan is a big time gauge for me, man. When I have, at the end of the day, a bunch of 100% runners, you'll see generally speaking, my trade frequency, size, risk go up. When it's not that, I just kind of proceed with caution. And this is one of those mornings where there's not too much out there. There's not too much that's appetizing. The only couple gappers haven't really behaved. The only couple strong stocks were just straight morning spikes. So likely a morning where it wouldn't hurt for me to just sit on my hands, okay? Let things shake a little bit. CRNX, again, higher priced. Best catalyst, NCNC, probably the best potential of being volatile today. Don't love that they did quite a bit of volume already and struggled on NCNC. NBY, probably get a bounce to VWAP at some point, would be my assumption on this. and a rejection probably of $1 or something like that. But if it can take $1, who knows? We'll see what NBY looks like in a little bit. AVTA acquired, ignore. PSTV. Morning spike. We already talked about. Look at this, by the way. We just spoke about this, right? Can we talk about this really fast? When I was mentioning like people getting excited about buying here, and I was trying to mention that you're getting inverse risk reward. No matter what you think you're getting, in my head, you're getting 5-to-1 to the downside. 10-to-1 to the downside if you're trying to buy it up here, right? Very, very basic stuff. Very, very basic stuff. So. All right, my friends, I am going to wrap up. Wolves, I will catch you in the Discord now. We'll hit Alpha Voice this morning since we've already kind of done a webinar. So we will hit Alpha Voice in the Discord chat. The rest of you, thank you so much for joining. Again, that QR code gets you into the Wolf Pack if you want with a 20% off per monthly. And I think for the yearly, could be wrong. If you want one-on-one, shoot me a DM, Instagram, or email me, Roland, ROLAND at rwtrades.com, and we'll get you scheduled for kind of an interview, because I'm not going to be taking random people anymore for one-on-ones. It will be people that I've spoken with, obviously alpha students, anyone who wants to do that, but that's the deal there. Boot camps, guys, you want to come see me? I'll be in Chicago, September 28th and 29th, I believe. I'll be in Vegas, October 28th and 29th, and I will be in San Fran the beginning of November, I think the 2nd and 3rd. But these are game changers, man, for a lot of people. Come in, small groups of like 15 and 20 as opposed to, big conferences. So we're able to really get into everyone's problems. Anything that you guys need, we talk about, have a little bit of fun. Get into the trading psychology. I go through all my trading processes and strategies, and we do live trading. But it's a big time thing. If you haven't been to one, I would really, really, really highly suggest trying to pop out. I think that coupon code might be good for some of those too. I could be wrong. But yeah, I'll throw my email address in here for anyone who wants to get in touch. I'll have better scheduling here in the future for you guys to get in touch, but for now, that's what we're going to do this week. Yeah, I would, if you can get out to the boot camps, man, I can't tell you how many people it puts them on such a different trajectory. I can't explain. And then months later, I get messages. Some join, some don't. I don't care. The ones that do, great. The ones that don't end up joining me, like as a student for mentorship or anything like that. Dude, I get messages from people from boot camps years ago about how much they helped. So, and I've only gotten better at them, and the boot camps have only gotten better in my opinion. So definitely, if you can make it out, come see me in person. Those are the last ones of the year. Outside of that, love you all, man. Thank you so much for joining me. Please smash that like if you haven't. Make sure you subscribe. We'll be going live more and getting a bunch of lessons and content to you guys on YouTube again. That's pretty much it, y'all. Definitely stay safe. I'm letting things shake. Like I said this morning, we'll see what the day brings. That's going to put me on a path for the rest of the week. But I'm happy. I love trading, guys. I want to place trades. I'm looking for trades, but I don't force it. And because I don't force it, and because I get great risk reward on my trades, and because I'm pressing in the right spots most of the time, and I'm withdrawing when I need to, I have longevity. And then I'm able to take crazy gains because I just put myself in the right places over and over and over again, or don't put myself anywhere. You'll go through a lot of my streams, and a lot of my students will tell you I'm not trading every day all day. There are some weeks where I don't trade. There are some weeks where I have 10 trades a day. So it's just market based, man, and setup based. And I'm not pressing buttons unless the markets tell me to press buttons. And this morning they didn't tell me to. So no buttons yet, right? Very close to pressing buttons on NBY, but process dictated that maybe be careful, right? Discretion dictated that Something's changed this morning. Okay. That's it. We do have a bit of a base on MBY, so we'll see. Maybe we get that little VWAP push. But again, risk, reward. Anyways, I hope you guys really enjoyed this. I gotta go be with my students now. Stay safe out there. Stay patient. Love you all. Catch you next Monday, maybe earlier if we can. Stay safe, y'all.